In this video, I'm going to go and show you how to create a repeat pattern, like you see on the screen here. Now, for this, we're going to be using Adobe Illustrator, so make sure that you're doing this in Adobe Illustrator and no other program. Now, to do this, what we're going to do is follow a few simple steps, and I'll go through them in detail with you in this video. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to start off by opening up Adobe Illustrator and going to File, and then clicking on New. Once you open up this document, what I'd like to do is name your file. So for mine, I'm going to put it as Repeat Pattern Experiment. And then as you can see, we have the size, which is A4, and I put my orientation as landscape. Now you don't have to have it as landscape if you don't want to, but for this, I'm going to keep it as landscape. Color mode, I'm doing it as CMYK. Okay, so CMYK because it's for print. However, if it's for web, then obviously you can choose RGB. For this, I'm going to choose a CMYK, and the raster effect, so the quality of the image is going to be 300 ppi, which as you can see is the highest for an Illustrator document. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on OK, and it's going to bring us up a screen. Now, a common problem that will happen on Adobe Illustrator is it won't show your artboard straight away. If this does happen, then all you need to do is go to View at the top and click on Preview on CPU. And there you go, you've got your artboard. Okay, so if your artboard doesn't come up, then please make sure that you go to View and then you click on Preview CPU. Okay, first things first is we need to get our layers sorted. So what I like to do is go over to a layers panel, which is the two sheets of paper on top of each other. Now, if you don't have the layers panel, you can obviously find it by going up to Window and then just going down to Layers. As you can see, the shortcut is F7. When you click on Layers, then obviously it will start showing up. Now, what I like to do is for layer 1, we need to just double click on it, and we're going to name this as background. So this is going to be our background layer. We're now going to make a brand new layer, and this is going to be called pattern. Okay, so you should have two layers. One is the background layer and the other is the pattern layer. Now we're going to click on the pattern layer because we're going to start creating our repeat pattern first. And what we're going to do is follow a few simple rules. If you want to hide the panel, all you do is just click on the little arrows. And if you click on them, they'll just come off your screen to give you more of a workspace. Okay, so we're going to start creating our repeat pattern now. So the first thing we need to do is go over to our toolbar, which you will have here. And all I want you to do is to select the rectangle tool. So the rectangle tool is here on your toolbar. Then just select it by clicking on it. And all we're going to do is go to the top left of your artboard. And I want you to click and hold and just drag it all the way down to the bottom right, like so. Now it's really important that these are in line. So what I don't want is for your box to be like this, for example. It needs to be exactly in the corner. Okay, so like you can see on the top, it will give you a little notice saying that it's intersected, which means that it's clipped straight on to the corner of your artboard. Now the reason we've done this is because we're going to make this panel into the size of our repeat pattern. To do that, what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the top and we're going to click on Transform. Now if you don't have this, all I want you to do is to check the sides of your Illustrator, but also if it doesn't show up at all, then again, similar to what we've done with our layers, just go to Window, and what I like to do is go to Workspace and make sure that Essentials is ticked. If it already is, then I just want you to click onto Layout and so on until you get this button that will pop up on your screen. Because I've already got it on here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Transform, and it's going to bring up the measurements for this box that we've just drawn. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a pattern be repeated 6 times across, and we're going to repeat it 6 times down as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the width, and we're going to divide it by 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press space, then I'm going to put a little dash. Now a dash means divide. And then what I'm going to do now is press another space, and I'm going to click on the keyboard number 6. Once that's done, what I want you to do is press on enter. And now you can see the width of the box that we've drawn has been divided by 6. Now what that means is that if we copied and pasted this 6 times, it will fit exactly into our artboard because we've drawn that box over the artboard and then divided it by 6. However, that's the first bit, but we also want it to be duplicated 6 times all the way down. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on Transform, and where you've got your height, again, just go all the way to the end, and we're going to divide it by putting a space, a divide sign, which is the slash, and then 6. And there we go. Okay, so this is our repeat pattern, which can be divided 6 times. Now, a good thing to do is to write down the measurements that we have. So what I like to do is just on the corner here, I'll use my type tool and I'll just write down the dimensions of this box. To do that, what I'm going to do is click on it, go to Transform. First one is 49.5. Copy that. And then we're going to go to our type tool. We've got 49.5. And then we need to get our height, which is 35. So again, right click, copy, come back over, click on our type tool, and then paste it in there. Okay, so straight away, we know that the width here is 45 mil, and then the height is 35 mil. Okay, really, really important that you get the dimensions for this box because we're going to need it later on when we start doing our repeat pattern. Now what we're going to do is we're going to design our repeat pattern in this area here. However, ideally we don't want to keep this box here. This box has been put here just as a reference. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw guidelines that are going to fit around this box rather than having the box there. So to do that, what we need is our rulers. So if you haven't already got the rulers on your Adobe Illustrator file, we're going to go up to View, and we're going to go down to Rulers. What we need to do is make sure that our view rulers are shown. So click on Show Rulers. Now, like you see at the top, the rulers have come up. And all we're going to do is select our box. We're going to go to the top ruler, going to click and hold, and we're going to drag it down to the corner of our box, and we're going to let go. And again, we're going to go to the left-hand side ruler, going to click and hold, drag it out. And if you notice, you see the cursor or the arrow is black. If I carry on dragging it out, you'll see when it starts intersecting with shapes, it will turn white. There we go. So now it's exactly on that shape. Okay, good. So these guidelines are put in here so that we know that we can draw inside this shape. So we don't need this box anymore, so we can delete that out. Okay, now comes the fun part. So what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in and we're going to put our pattern into this box here. Now for this, I'm just going to do a really quick design. Obviously for yours, you would come up with an even better design. But for this, we're just going to go for something that's very, very simple, just so that I can show you how the design works. So the key to this is try not to overcomplicate your repeat pattern, because sometimes if your repeat pattern is too complicated, it'll just look a bit too messy, a bit confusing, and it won't be very nice to look at. Okay, so when you're doing this, make sure that you're making it look as simple as you possibly can. But at the same time, obviously make it look visually appealing as well. Okay, all right, let's say we're going to go with that design. Now again, very, very simple, but remember we're designing it in this little box that we have here. Okay, what we're going to do is we want to repeat this, remember, 6 times across here and 6 times down. However, this is where the measurements come into play. So we know that if we times 49.5 6 times, it would make up the whole width of this design. So what we're going to do is we are going to highlight our design, and we're going to press the special key on our keyboard, which is Control K. Okay, so Control K. Now Control K for Windows is a keyboard increment shortcut, and what you can do is you could put in a measurement for your keyboard increment, and what you can do is every time you press your arrow key, it will move that object that space. Okay, so for example here I've got 49.5. Every time I click my arrow key, it'll move it left, right, up, down by 49.5 mil. Okay, so keyboard increment, need to make sure that it's 49.5, and then we press OK. Again, make sure that it's highlighted. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hold down the Alt key, so hold down Alt on your keyboard, and then we're going to press the arrow key to the right. So what this is going to do is it's going to copy and paste it by holding Alt, and then when we press the arrow key, it's going to copy and paste it 49.5 mil to the right. There you go. And again, just make sure that we do that the whole way across. Okay, so that's our repeat pattern for the top section. Now, obviously, going down, it's not 49.5, it's 35 mil. So again, we're going to highlight all of our artwork on that line, and we're going to press Control K, which is going to bring up our keyboard increment. And we're going to make sure that rather than being 49.5, because that's just the width, we want to make sure that it's the height so that we can duplicate it 6 times down the page. So that is 35 mil. 35 mil. Okay. Then we're going to press on OK. Now, what we're going to do is make sure that you've highlighted the whole top row that you've duplicated. And again, we're going to hold down Alt, and then you're going to press the down arrow key. And there you go. And that has made the repeat pattern fit exactly onto this A4 bit of paper. Now, obviously we don't need to have these measurements anymore, so you can click on them and delete them. And also we don't need our guides anymore. So to get rid of our guides, we're going to go to View, go down to Guides, and then we're going to click on Clear Guides. And there we go, they're done. Okay, what we're going to do now is create a background. So what we can do is obviously make a cool color that's going to, go well with this pattern that we've made. So what we're going to do is go over to our layers. Remember, if you can't get your layers up, you're going to go to Window and make sure that Layers is ticked. and we're going to click onto background. So we've got background here. And all we're going to do again is to make sure we get our rectangle tool up. Go to where it says intersect in the top left. Click and hold, and then drag it all the way over to the bottom right till it says intersect again. And there we go, we've got a nice background colour. And again, if you want to change the background colour, you go to fill, double click, you can choose any type of background colour that is going to fit well with your pattern. And that is how you create a repeat pattern using Adobe Illustrator.